The Starship is what we might describe as the most futuristic space vehicle ever created, and up until today it continues to surprise us. However, Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, is hiding something about this vehicle and its planned missions. To begin with, what are the planned missions for the Starship? Are these missions as achievable as they sound? And finally, what is Elon hiding about these missions? Let's find out. Welcome to the Space Minds channel. What is Musk hiding about the Starship? The Starship has always been a marvel since its big reveal in 2016 by SpaceX, and over time it has astonished the world with its launches and milestones. From its early explosive test flights to more recent huge achievements like the successful catch of its Super Heavy booster and a remarkable round-the-Earth trip of the capsule, culminating in a splashdown in the Indian Ocean. But let's set these aside for a moment. The Starship promises a future where humanity could achieve monumental feats, a second landing on the Moon, establishing a significant population on Mars, and even venturing deeper into space to explore Earth-like planets. According to Elon Musk, these missions would be relatively easy to achieve. But really, would they? Before we get into further details, be sure to hit the subscribe and share with fellow space enthusiasts, and I'll be keeping you updated on every launch mission and cosmic discovery, so give this video a thumbs up. The Starship just achieved a major milestone in its 5th test flight and is now preparing for its 6th. In addition, SpaceX is developing a more advanced launch pad, the OLMB, specifically for Starship. But that's not all. SpaceX is working on the V3 series of the Starship, which will be even taller than the current V2 models. The thrust capacity of these new versions is expected to be around 2,000 tons, almost 25% higher than the V2s. Newer versions of the V2 are already being assembled, with the B-33 almost fully set up. Indeed, SpaceX seems to be moving at an incredible pace. Still, what most of us are really excited about with the Starship isn't its newer versions or launch pad, it's its ambitious plans for the future. What will the 394-foot giant accomplish with its next flight? What is its first mission beyond Earth? And what celestial body will it target next? For now, the Starship has 3 major objectives to check off its bucket list: reaching a higher orbit, landing on the Moon, and finally traveling to Mars. While Elon Musk often makes these goals sound relatively easy, they are pretty far from simple. Let's begin with the first item, achieving a higher orbit. The Starship is the largest spacecraft ever created by humanity, and while it's designed for immense power and versatility, the road to higher orbits is still a massive challenge. Despite its size, getting the Starship to perform beyond low Earth orbit involves overcoming some tough engineering problems. The sheer energy required to escape the Earth's gravitational pull and reach orbital speeds at altitudes higher than typical low Earth orbit (LEO) is no small feat. To begin with, higher orbits require Starship to achieve much greater speeds than in LEOs. Reaching these higher velocities demands more fuel and a more efficient propulsion system, as each additional kilometer per second of speed requires exponentially more thrust. This fuel consumption challenge complicates the journey even more, especially since the Starship must also reserve enough fuel for return maneuvers, which significantly increases the pressure on payload capacity and adds to the overall mission demands. Then there is the topic of gravity. Gravity behaves differently at higher altitudes as well. As the Starship moves farther from Earth, gravitational pull weakens, but it remains strong enough to require fine adjustments to stay on course. These forces create delicate navigation requirements. Minor miscalculations in higher orbits can send the ship off course by really large distances. Re-entry from high orbits also presents a formidable challenge. Higher velocities upon return generate intense friction and heat, which the Starship's ceramic tiles and stainless steel heat shield must endure. SpaceX is pushing this shielding technology to its limits, especially since the Starship is designed to be reusable. This heat resistance is critical, as without it, the spacecraft could burn up upon re-entry, making each mission considerably riskier. But let's assume the Starship can manage to reach a much higher orbit. Can it go as far as the Moon? Sending the Starship to the Moon involves technical challenges far beyond what might appear at first glance, particularly when it comes to in-space refueling. Even with its immense power, it can't simply reach the Moon on a single tank of fuel. The key challenge lies in executing a chain of precise orbital refueling maneuvers, something that has little historic precedent. This process requires both perfect timing and the technology to transfer fuel in space, all while ensuring the spacecraft maintains the necessary trajectory to reach the Moon. Any misstep in this intricate sequence could prevent Starship from making it past low Earth orbit, let alone successfully land on the Moon. To fuel the Starship for a lunar journey, SpaceX will need to stage multiple refueling launches in orbit, each carrying significant amounts of propellant to top up the spacecraft. Depending on factors like payload capacity and launch efficiency, this could require anywhere from 4 to over a dozen tanker launches for a single mission. Each tanker must dock with the Starship in orbit and transfer liquid methane and oxygen, an intricate process. Although SpaceX has experience with docking procedures from their work with the International Space Station, docking multiple times during a single mission adds complexity and increases the risk of failure due to the cumulative probability of something going wrong. This multi-stage refueling is only one piece of the puzzle. The Starship's current refueling system must also ensure that cryogenic fuels, liquids that easily evaporate in space's vacuum, remain stable. Fuel boil-off, a natural process where some of the propellant turns to gas over time, may require frequent replacements, further complicating the logistics. Even if SpaceX manages to maintain a rapid launch cadence every few days or weeks, propellant loss during the refueling process could require additional tanker launches, extending the mission timeline and potentially increasing costs and complicating logistics. Let's talk about the last item on the Starship's current bucket list, which is reaching Mars. And just when you think the lunar mission is difficult, the Mars mission raises the stakes even higher. Similar to the lunar mission, the key to success of the Mars mission lies in space refueling. Carrying all the fuel needed for such a vast journey from Earth would be highly impractical. Instead, SpaceX plans to refuel Starship in low Earth orbit before it begins its 6-month trek to the Red Planet. This involves tanker spacecraft, essentially starships without windows, launching separately, rendezvousing with the spacecraft, and transferring liquid methane and oxygen. Once the Starship is on its way, it faces even more challenges. The journey to Mars isn't a straight shot. There's a complex orbital maneuvering process that requires precision to account for the gravitational forces of both Earth and Mars. During the trip, the crew will endure several months of microgravity and cosmic radiation, which can have long-term health effects. This makes the spacecraft's life support systems and shielding even more critical. Upon arrival at Mars, the ship will need to land and, just like the Moon, refuel using local resources. Mars offers a combination of CO2 and water ice, which can be converted into methane and oxygen for fuel through a process known as in situ resource utilization, or ISRU. This could make future missions more sustainable, enabling repeat trips without relying entirely on Earth-based supplies. Beyond the mission itself, Mars colonization presents even greater challenges. Establishing a permanent base would require habitat construction, food production, and atmospheric modifications to support human life. However, SpaceX views Mars not just as a stepping stone, but as humanity's first backup home, a place where a multi-planetary civilization can thrive and survive. Musk's vision is clear. Humanity's future depends on becoming a spacefaring civilization, and Mars offers the perfect testing ground to achieve that. Reaching farther orbits is already a monumental task for the massive Starship, and missions like NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the Moon by 2025 using Starship, add another layer of complexity. Also, the Polaris 3 mission, which seeks to land on Mars, represents a step forward in humanity's space exploration endeavors. Elon Musk claims that all of these would be really easy for SpaceX, but in reality, they are extremely difficult. Consider the propellant requirements, the extensive software upgrades and overhauls that would be necessary, the numerous adjustments needed for the Starship, and the significant number of ships required for refueling, even for a lunar mission. An interesting fact to end this piece: for a trip from Earth to the Moon, the Starship would need up to 15 other ships just for refueling. We've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Space Minds for the latest updates on our space news and adventures.